Okay, so it is another record-setting hot temperature day here in hot, humid central Midwest Illinois, and my gosh, it's almost unbearable. But I wanted to do a little context before we get into this video and let you guys know that I am venturing onto something quite interesting for the channel. I'm going to try to get the elevator actually running. And when I say I mean Neil. I've mentioned him in several of the videos before. It's a new friend that I made through YouTube, and he's going to come by, and he's already taught me a lot about the elevator. So in this video, I'm going to do some work on the car of the elevator, and I'm going to take you up to the elevator, the motor house, once again, and share a little bit about what I've learned and give you a little preview of what's going to be happening in very near future. Okay, so I'm not going to go through or go over everything that's up here because I've already done that in a previous video. I'll link that in the notes below. If you're interested in kind of seeing what this is in granular detail, that'd be a good video to watch. Neil tells me that he's pretty sure this thing's going to work once we kind of get it sorted out. So they made stuff right back in the day, and it's a three-phase motor. We got three cables going in here, and so what we're going to need to do is bring power up to this elevator. I guess it's called a house, I'm not sure. And so we're gonna have to get a licensed electrician and file the paperwork with the town to get permission to do that. And yeah, because Neil is retired, so it has to be, I think, a locally licensed electrician. So anyway, we'll get that done. We'll either get three-phase up here. We also have a piece of equipment that will convert three-phase to convert two-phase to three-phase so that it can go into the motor. So that is kind of the first part of what I wanted to share with you. The second is this thing right here. This is the brake for the elevator. And he told me that the default position is the brake is on. And then when it gets current in the signal, it will release the brake. And that's a safety measure because if it loses power or whatever, the brake will go back to its default position, which is that it is applied and the elevator car won't be able to move. So I have a kind of an interesting, cool little project today going on downstairs that's connected with the elevator. And I'm trying to figure out, where the power's coming in, trying to run all that down. And we're going to get down to that in just a second. But I also wanted to tell you about an upcoming video. So I'm going to be taking, this is the brains of the whole system. And it's a heavy slate plate with all of the mechanisms for communicating to the motor or to the elevator what it needs to do. So I have been through a tutorial with Neil to know how to unhook it and how to label everything, and I'm going to dismantle it and I'm going to send it off, and he is going to refurbish it. And this fall, just in a few months from now, he's going to come here for about a week, and we're going to hopefully get this thing running, which will be amazing for the channel and even more amazing for me, because all of that stuff that's on the third floor, I can get all of that out. It's a freight elevator. It's not a person elevator. I'm afraid to even find out what the codes are for that. So I don't have any ambitions of using it as a means of transportation to the third floor because I'm too lazy to go up the stairs. But I am interested in using it to bring down heavy stuff that there is no other way to get down out of this building. So the fire load needs to get out, and yeah, so this is super exciting. And let me take you on the journey of my little project and it's kind of interesting. So thanks for visiting. Let's get to it. Okay, so here we are in the main car of the elevator, and there's a bunch of junk in it. So we were lowering stuff down the shaft, and that giant steel basket and a couple things fell out, and there was actually some stuff in here when we bought it. So first step is going to be to clean all of this out, get this junk out of the way. Oh, and there you have it. Isn't it amazing how fast something like that can happen if you just wish hard enough? So, yeah. Okay, you know what? I can kind of see that moment where I'll be like one of those cool guys in the 80s that has a freight elevator and it opens up into his awesome hangout space. So, but this is a freight only elevator. I'm never gonna step foot in it to go up on it. Because that wouldn't be legal. So, all right. What we're doing, the reason I'm cleaning this out at the moment is because we are going to, I'm going to take this off and we're going to rebuild it. So, yeah, well, let me restate that. Neil is going to rebuild that. So, he told me that I just need to get it off and mail it to him. So, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, before we get too far, let's just take a look at it. So you can feel the quality of this thing. As old as it is, you know, they made things great back in the day, and that feels super solid. And here's a safety breaker. Feels just like a breaker that you'd have in an electric box. I guess that's what it is inside there. And we got our up and down Bakelite buttons. I haven't tested them to see if they're Bakelite, but I suspect they are. And this one is chipped. So 4 Phillips screws, and in the back we've got this box here. So I'm hoping that when I remove this plate, then that box will come out. So because that's not a very wide gap to get tools and to see what's going on there. So let's keep our fingers crossed. So I just went to get a Phillips screwdriver to start that, and it just struck me how awesome that thing looks. So man, I'm really excited about that. It's got this big drop door here, and then it's also got a twin one on the other side. And I'm just looking here, and there's hinges on this guy. And it's really weird because there's hinges on this guy too. But that's a solid piece all the way across. So maybe this swings out. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research and figure that out because it's got my interest peaked. Okay, let's see if we can get these screws off. I gotta figure out how to work this screwdriver. Okay, I think I got it figured out. I need a college degree to figure out this screwdriver. Okay. Bailey, how could you let that happen? How did you let that happen?
That's how.
So, dang it, wouldn't you know it, it was a short screw, and I got it just backed out a couple times, started using my hand. It fell down there, took one bounce, and went that way. Like the obvious thing, because why not, right? Of course. All right. I can do this. I can do this. So, let me see if I can. The only good thing is that I know that I cannot be the only person that has happened to in the last 100 years. So, the very second video that I make once this thing is up and running is I'm gonna lift this car up and I'm gonna go down there and I'm gonna find out where all the silver coins and wedding rings and all that stuff that's been falling down over the years, where all that stuff is. So I wish I could do that on this video, but gotta have a little bit of patience. So. Now, Neil warned me that once I take this apart, I really need to take lots of photographs and then also to label how every single wire hooks back up. So I'm going to be careful to do that as I go through the process. So I don't think that a Phillips, oh, yeah. Okay. Ooh, that thing is more complicated than I thought in there. Okay, got it? Thank you. Yeah, that thing's more complicated than I thought. So what I'm hoping is that if I can get this box out, all of that'll just stay together as one single piece. But it looks like those guys do have to come off. So I need to figure out a way to disconnect them and still keep them labeled so I can match them back up later. Okay, don't laugh. This is such an unprofessional way to do it. So I'm going to color code using these ribbons. So I'll just tie that onto the wire and tie it around that screw head as well. And then I'll know which one goes where. I'm full of life hacks. So instead of criticizing me for my methods, try to validate me for at least doing this, taking the time to make sure I know what goes where. Okay, so for those people who are interested in this in detail, this is the feed where everything comes in right here. And these three cables, which I have color coded, correspond to three terminals on here, which are actually connected to the up and down switch. So beyond these three cables, we've got two red ones coming in and then this thick guy here. And these two red ones seem to be tying in right here on the light switch. And then this big guy here goes to the safety switch or the breaker here. So that's pretty simple, I think. I need to take these 4 screws out and it should kind of come loose. Maybe I can pull it forward, get access to disconnect these wires here, and then maybe I can get the whole thing out. So then we can ship it off to Neil and see if he can work his magic on it. This whole process is constantly stop and go. So this screwdriver is a little bit too blunt. I gotta go see if I can find a better one to fit that slot there. Okay, so that is a nubby little guy, but it's much thinner than the other one. So it should do the trick. And if not, I got this guy. So that's the good thing about going and running all these tools down. I put them in my tool cart after that, and then I have them. I won't have to look for them anymore. Okay, I've got a problem. Got it all disconnected. And this piece of conduit here comes up into the box. I've got my finger on here. But it threads into the bottom. And it's mounted way down there under that. So that box basically has to spin off of that piece of conduit there. The problem is that this comes out. It doesn't go in because of these lips here. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do about that. I have to figure out how to get that. Because the conduit, that vertical conduit, is not going to allow me to pull it forward enough. There's no slack in it. So yeah, problem. The only thing I can think of is to cut that conduit and then pull that box through, unscrew that conduit, and I'm loose. But it's already form fitted for the way it's supposed to be. I don't want to mess that up. Okay, so the solution is not pretty. The only thing I can see is, so if you notice, this is a separate piece from this. So if I go and take out all of these screws all the way around, maybe, just maybe, that will pop in. Then I could like push it out through here, rotate it up, push the panel through, unscrew it off the conduit. So I did not want to go to that much trouble, but I think this thing dictates how much trouble, not me. Okay, every time I turn on this camera, I feel like I'm reporting another problem. You guys are here to see solutions. Yeah, so I tried like 3 or 4 of these screws and they're all just turning in place. They're not backing out. So, yeah, I don't know what to do. That's like heavy steel there. I wish I could just flatten, you know, bend those back and then it would push through. But every time I have to come to a hard decision, I can feel the comments saying, oh, you should have done this, man. You should have done this, not that. Either way I go, I'm going to get that comment. So, that conduit there. Maybe, I mean, if I cut it right here where it's going straight in, like right here, for example, right here. I should be able to get a nipple, right? And put that back and join that back together. You know, maybe cut like a 3-inch section out of there and then just put a bridge in there. But can I cut that without severing those wires? I don't know. I don't know. Well, at least I can say I learned something. So that piece of conduit goes down. It's got an explosion-proof junction. And it's just hanging loose under the car here. And I couldn't figure out where it was going. But then I noticed this guy right here. And it goes all the way to the very top up there. So I think that's either communication between the control panel up there, or it's at the actual feed of power up to the motor. So, or maybe both. So, okay. Okay, so this is really embarrassing, and I owe all of you guys a big apology. So, when I first looked at this, it looked like it was like a cast piece that was connected to this. And then I just started cranking on with my finger and found out it could turn, and now I've completely loosened that. So maybe it's off. Give me a second. Okay, so I gotta say that this building is constantly giving me life lessons. So right now I'm kind of feeling the value of not being rash, not making quick decisions. You know, give yourself a minute to think and look at things and try to evaluate what's going on. Even though I kind of found this by accident, I can see where if I had been a little more patient, I would have figured this out on myself. But that screwed off. Now, this is probably so obvious to some of you guys, but it wasn't obvious to me. I think I'm going to be able to get that off now. Okay, I have 2 possible emotions that could be going on right now. One of them is kind of shame for not knowing that, not figuring that off right off the bat. And the other is like super happy that I got it out without destroying it. And I'm going to go with super happy. So, wow, got it. Got it. Now all I have to do is pack that up and send it off to Neil. And he's gonna, I guess, clean it up and do whatever has to be done. And that is the first phase. Then the second phase, I think, is installing the converter up there for switch from 3-phase to 2-phase, 220. And then the logic board. And oh my gosh, this thing might actually work. And I don't care what anybody says. If that happens, I'm gonna be super proud. I'm gonna be super proud. Not proud in the way to other people, just proud to myself. So I've never done anything like that. And actually without Neil, I wouldn't be able to do it anyway, but I'm stepping way outside my comfort zone. And yeah, I'm gonna quit blabbering on because it's probably lame to listen to, but just know I'm pretty happy about this.